Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. This is your host, the BARKEEP, bringing you podcast 81 here at the Tavern, presented by Hirotaku.com. Now, for all of the things that Power Rangers Turbo did wrong, I think one of the better aspects of the series was the introduction of the Phantom Ranger. Basically, what Saban had done at that time is they took an incidental character from Car Ranger, who only had, I think, maybe 2 appearances throughout all of Car Ranger, and developed him into a significant character in Power Rangers. That was a major plot point, was really important for the progression of Turbo, and later was very important and instrumental in Power Rangers in Space. And I think that's actually impressive that Saban was able to do that with such a minor character who, in Japan, is not even considered a ranger, an extra hero, or anything like that. He was just in a couple of episodes, and that was it, basically. So for them to do that, I think was really good, retrospectively looking at it. But just for the fact that there was this mysterious ally that helped the Power Rangers, that's always good. It worked for the Gold Ranger. It worked with the introduction of the White Ranger. And the more interesting, I would say, is that the Power Rangers failed on numerous occasions, and the Phantom Ranger had to come help them because there was nothing else to go ahead and do. If it wasn't for the assistance of the Phantom Ranger, Divatox would have conquered Earth because the Turbo Rangers had failed. And 2 instances right off the top of my head is when time was frozen, Phantom Ranger was able to basically phase out of time and fix the problem. The Rangers, if he wasn't there, time would have been frozen for all eternity for the Power Rangers. And second is when General Havoc stole the Turbo Megazord with Metallosaurus, and the Phantom Ranger brought them Rescue Zords. So, if it wasn't for the Phantom Ranger, the Power Rangers would have failed, and Turbo would have been it, basically. So just something to kind of think about right there. But the thing that really resonates with people to this day is the identity of the Phantom Ranger. When we talk about secret identities, his is a real secret. We've never been told who he is. It's never been revealed within the series or non-canonical sources or anything like that. The identity of the Phantom Ranger is just as much a mystery here in 2014 as it was in 1997. So what I want to go ahead and discuss with you guys is just kind of some information that I have found regarding the identity of the Phantom Ranger, kind of what they originally planned to do with it, talk about basically what that means throughout Power Rangers fandom today, and just kind of what is the status of the Phantom Ranger and what is not being done with him. Now we have, again, we're past the 20th anniversary, and we're about to move into a new season of Power Rangers and Dino Charge next year. So, again, the idea, the information I have, and this is looking off the wiki and looking at a couple of other sites, is that the original pitch is that he was supposed to be the embodied spirit of past Rangers or fallen Rangers. First of all, which I find a little bit odd, because if it's fallen Rangers, that would assume that they died, and up to 1997, we didn't have any dead Power Rangers. So I find that kind of odd, given, again, where the franchise was at that particular time. But the term that was basically used was ghost robot. And that seems to be confirmed by the original producers of Turbo, that's kind of where they were going with that. And this is something similar to what we would see years later in Super Sentai with Akared, who is the embodiment of the Red Rangers Super Sentai franchise. But that's still confusing because, well, most of those Red Rangers, I guess, were not dead, or at least went to heaven without dying. But that's a different story to talk about. But the big thing that people basically talk about is that originally when Countdown to Destruction was going to be 3 parts, they were going to reveal the identity of the Phantom Ranger. And what some sources, or most sources, are saying is that they filmed that, but cut it out of the episode altogether. And the thing is, I'm not really buying that they actually filmed a scene where they revealed the identity of the Phantom Ranger. And let me kind of explain how I feel about it and why I think that is the case. Because now, so they wanted to do 3 episodes of Countdown to Destruction. They had to go ahead and limit it down to 2. First, if there was actually an intention to reveal the identity of the Phantom Ranger, that A, would have been written into the original script, whether it be 2 parts or 3 parts. His identity would have been revealed. And 2, a decision would have been made even before the script was finished as to who the Phantom Ranger was. Because at that point, they would have had to start thinking about, guest characters and who they're going to bring in, what the logic of the situation is. Is it going to be a Gold Ranger where it's somebody we don't know? Or is it going to be a returning character like Billy? Which is what I always believed as a child was Billy, but I don't think that was necessarily the case. Of course, given what we know about David Yost now. Again, if there was a scene to be filmed, it would be in a script somewhere, whether it be a first draft or a rough draft or anything like that. There'd be some evidence that we were to know who he was before filming even began. And to this day, I do not know of any information where it actually concretely says, this is the identity of the Phantom Ranger, this is exactly what we're going to do before we had to shelve it to 2 episodes. Now, some people say the scene was filmed, which again, if it was filmed, 1, where's the script to back this up? And 2, where is the footage? We've seen some deleted footage from Power Rangers in recent years with DVD releases and, of course, YouTube and the internet. But if this was, here's the thing. The revelation of the Phantom Ranger in 1998 would have been monumental in Power Rangers history because there we have the reveal of this mysterious ally who, helped the Rangers in the final battle, and Zordon dies and all that stuff. It would have been monumental. And today, it would still be monumental because it would inform us more about his character and how that plays out throughout Power Rangers history. If we knew exactly who he was, what his true mission was, and things like that. So that's what I'm kind of curious about, is that the reveal would inform us so much to who he is. And that would be footage worth putting out there, I would think. Now, this could be an instance of, well, the Time Force unedited version, some of the footage just couldn't be found and all that, but I would find it difficult to believe that that scene was particularly filmed and that footage was never found. I just don't get that. I think that footage exists somewhere, and as we all know with the history of movie making, at any given time there's got to be at least 20 people on set during the time that I was filmed, and then if they did go ahead and film it, they would have had to cast somebody in the role of the Phantom Ranger, assuming he wasn't a robot, he was an actual person. So where's the casting call for the Phantom Ranger? Where's the actor who came in for the day to film that scene? I find it unlikely that scene was filmed because you have all these variables going in there of evidence that, again, 2014, we don't have anything showing up. Where's the actor that showed up for the day? Where's the script with the evidence? Where is the footage? Where is the director saying, oh yes, this was the guy that we had, this is what we did, but again, it ended up on the cutting room floor. Again, we're getting information on speculation on who he was intended to be, but no concrete evidence. So I find it hard to believe the scene was actually filmed with the Phantom Ranger being revealed, and yet 2014, we still don't know who he is, despite the overmounting evidence that would be there. I mean, I understand when they did Empire Strikes Back, the only 2 people that really knew the Luke, I am your father line, was James Earl Jones and George Lucas because, well, it was 1979 going into 1980 when the film was released. So yeah, I can kind of believe that not everybody knew, but you don't film a scene with an actual person for your 3-part series finale, which is what it was at the time, and nobody has come forward in the 15 plus years since it's been out to say, yeah, this is exactly what happened. This is exactly who it was going to go ahead and be. Now, am I saying that they didn't have a plan? No, I'm not saying they didn't have a plan. It's just that I doubt that anything was actually filmed or it was even written into the script. Unless there is concrete evidence to the contrary, a specific interview where somebody can provide evidence, which, again, a script or the actual film or the person, I'm not going to believe that was actually filmed. So anything about, they were going to go ahead and do this, I would like to go ahead and have some evidence on that. Now, moving past the reveal of who he was, who he is, or who he was, and all that, what I find out about the Phantom Ranger is that he's pretty big with Power Ranger circles today. In that he's always talked about, and there's always this kind of speculation, rumor of like the Phantom Rangers doing something behind the scenes. I read a fanfic long time ago, and it wasn't very good to be honest, but it was where Jason and Cassie had met up randomly, and the Phantom Ranger had taken Jason and Cassie to basically the Zord junkyard. The Phantom Ranger had been collecting all the discarded and destroyed Zords of all the Power Rangers, and just kind of like, it's like a monument to destroyed Power Rangers. You had the Thunder Zords and the Turbo Zords and the Rescue Zords. All those were in this big junk pile. What that story was about, beyond that, I don't remember. But I'm saying this story as an example that the Phantom Ranger was behind the scenes doing things. That he was still on some sort of secret mission, whether that was for Zordon or to his own means. He's remained a very popular figure in Power Rangers history. So much so that now, because of the Morphin Madness contest, since he was one of the 5 winners, he is now included in the special limited edition key pack, which unfortunately nobody else is going to go ahead and have. Yeah, that sucks. Of the Phantom Ranger. He is proven to be one of the 5 most popular Power Rangers of all time, at least according to the Morphin Madness. So the thing I'm trying to figure out is, why hasn't the Phantom Ranger been in Power Rangers since Power Rangers in Space? And why haven't we decided to reveal his identity? And here's the thing, we've had plenty of opportunities to do that throughout the Power Rangers series. I'm going to go ahead and mention 3 off the bat right here. One is Forever Red. Instead of Tommy and Andros gathering up all the Red Rangers, it could have been the Phantom Ranger. Again, similar to kind of what Aka Red was doing. We could have done Operation Overdrive, the Sentinel Knight with the power of the Phantom Ranger, or allied with the Phantom Ranger, brings the 5 Rangers together. Again, not unlike Aka Red. Basically, Phantom Ranger and Aka Red are almost the same character for both franchises. And then the third instance would be in the 20th anniversary, in the Mega War at the end of the series, which, from all accounts, he's not going to go ahead and be in it. Despite the fact he's one of the 5 most popular Power Rangers ever, he's not going to go ahead and be in the 20th anniversary. Apparently, there's some sort of debate whether he's a Ranger or not, but you know what? He's a Ranger to me because he has the word Ranger in his name. So why hasn't Saban, Disney, anybody done anything with the Phantom Ranger to this point? Yes, he was going to be one of the main protagonists / antagonists within the Hexagon Project, which Raptor and I have talked about previously. But beyond that, we don't. That pitch really didn't have any information about him other than he was kind of rebelling against the Ranger unification system, I guess is the best way to go ahead and put it. But why hasn't he appeared in any media since then? We haven't seen anything about the Phantom Ranger up until this point. And again, if the biggest mystery is who is the Phantom Ranger, wouldn't that be something that could be revealed now? I mean, again, we can bring in the Phantom Ranger into any Power Ranger series. We can make him an ally, we can make him an enemy, we can make him a mentor. We can do anything with this character, but they've chosen not to do that. Now you can say, well, we don't want to go ahead and do this because we want to keep the mystery alive. But a mystery with no logical resolution is not really a mystery. It's more of a tease. It's almost like they're kind of trolling us in a way. It's like, yeah, we never intended for anything, so we're just not going to go ahead and make anything up. Or if they did intend to do something, then why not just kind of build off that down the line? I'm sure there's some sort of writer going, hey, they never revealed the Phantom Ranger. Let's come up with an identity for the Phantom Ranger. Let's integrate him into a new series. Let's put him in Dino Charge. Let's see what we're going to go ahead and do with him. I just don't understand why the Phantom Ranger, again, one of the most popular Rangers of all time, is not focused anywhere outside of Turbo and in space. And further, on the PlayStation 2, I played the game Power Rangers Super Legends. Now, that whole game was about Lord Zed returning and the Omega Ranger, not Sam, but a Omega Ranger from the far future, is gathering Power Rangers from the past to fight against Lord Zed. Well, that immediately screams like something that the Phantom Ranger would go ahead and do. So why wasn't the Phantom Ranger included in that? Why did we have to make up this Ranger for a video game when we already have a complete roster of characters available to choose from? Phantom Ranger again being most obvious right there. I just think that it's high time that we revisit this character. That, as I've said before, a lot of shows and seasons have logical conclusions into character story arcs. And in a lot of cases, it just stops because they got rid of the character, actor didn't come back in, or the season ended. And I think the Phantom Ranger is an example of where that stops. He had no logical arc. Even his relationship with Cassie just stopped. Because the last time she sees him is in the Delta Discovery, and after that, we never see her think about him or talk about him or interact with him again, basically. So it just stopped. There was no logical conclusion, and that to me is very unsatisfying. And if we did bring the Phantom Ranger back to bring his character to some sort of conclusion, whatever that may be, I think would be very satisfactory that we finally find out who it is. And you could Forrest Gump this guy too, basically say he's been involved in tons of things throughout the Power Rangers universe. He's like that guy behind the scenes, which would indicate, hey, Phantom, the Phantom that's pulling the strings almost and stuff. I just want to see them talk about him because in an age where every year is a different story and different characters, why can't we just bring back this one character? And again, Super Megaforce would be the most logical place to bring him back. Again, make him an ally of the Power Rangers, of the Mega Rangers, because of course there's going to be a Mega War, so maybe the Phantom Ranger is involved with that somehow. So I think I've kind of rambled on about the Phantom Ranger, and I just kind of want to end it with this. One, I think they had an idea for the Phantom Ranger, but I don't think they had a plan for him overall. I don't believe that they actually filmed a scene in which they revealed his identity, and I don't know why he has not come back within current Power Ranger franchises. Because, everybody's like, let's bring Tommy back, let's bring Ann back, let's bring Jason back. Well, that's all fine and good, but what about the guy who has no actor that we could bring back and make anything that we want and not be limited in some cases? Not that bringing Tommy and Jason and back is necessarily a bad thing, but to expand upon an existing character who has no real story, I think is just as interesting. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and kind of leave it today. Again, I apologize, as always, for rambling on the subject, but I definitely like to know what you guys think. Do you actually believe that there was a full, fleshed-out plan for who the Phantom Ranger was, and if so, who is it? And of course, what's your all speculation on it? Again, as a child, I always thought it was kind of Billy or some sort of cybernetic character and all that. But again, we never got information on that. And again, I don't think it would have been Billy anyway, again, given what we know about David Yost today. And do you guys really think that Phantom Ranger should make an appearance in future Power Ranger seasons, either as a cameo, as a major player, or just the fact that we need to find out who he is and end the mystery? I think that's the main thing right there. We need to end the mystery, because it's one thing where you leave it ambiguous, and that's another matter where you just don't care. And that's kind of what the Saban attitude is like. We just don't care. So, well, I want to thank you guys for listening again. Let me know in the comments what you think about this topic. Otherwise, I want to thank you guys for listening. Have a good evening, and the tavern is now closed.